The best part about Arch Linux is the worst part about Arch Linux. What do I mean? Let's find out. Good morning everyone and welcome back to the channel. I was feeling better and then this cold has reared its ugly head again, so I'm not feeling too bad, but I've still got a really bad cough and it's going to make my editing job so much harder. I'm going to cut them all out of the video so you guys won't notice it, but I just thought I'd let you guys know in case, I don't know, I seem lower energy than normal. So basically what I wanted to talk about today is how I have a really short attention span. So as you guys know, Arch Linux, when you install it, at least you should know if you've installed Arch Linux, when you install it, you're just dropped into a TTY, which is just a terminal interface if you're not sure. And from there, you're just given free reign to install whatever you want, or honestly, you could, if you really wanted to, you could just install a C compiler and just write everything yourself if you really wanted to. I would not recommend that, but the option is there. So because of this high level of freedom and high level of customizability, I tend to get very distracted. Let's say I'm writing a essay in Vim, that's how I usually write lately. So if I see, say, a color that slightly bothers me, I can go and change that. And I will go and change that, and I'll then go and change something else and something else. And then I realize it's about 4 hours later and I haven't done any work. So I love the fact that I can just change whatever I want. I've set up a powerline shell, which is, if you don't know, it's this little strip that you replace your shell prompt with that I'm not sure why it's actually called powerline, but that's what it is. I will put a thing up somewhere that shows it off if you're not sure what it is. I think it looks pretty cool. And yeah, it took me a while to get it set up properly. Now that it is, it looks real cool. But because of this, I've wasted some time when I should have been working on this essay. It's only 1,000 words, but I want to get it done as early as possible. And this Arch system is not making it easy just because I keep wanting to change stuff. People tend to meme about how difficult Arch is to install. Honestly, it's really, really easy as long as you just follow the guide on the Arch Linux wiki or you just watch the countless videos that exist. Maybe there was a time when it was difficult, but there's so much documentation, there's so many tutorials out there now that it doesn't really matter. And because of this, you can just jump onto Arch without having much knowledge. So I know a bit about how to use a Linux system, but I didn't really know much about window managers or network managers or audio device drivers and things of that nature. And just, there's so much stuff that I've learned just playing around with my Arch system. There's also so much I can just play around with. And there's not really much restriction on what you can do. If I really wanted to, I could just swap out i3 today and chuck in Awesome or DWM or anything like that. And there's nothing stopping me from doing that. I don't want to because I like i3. But the point I'm making is that there's so much customizability that I end up getting very distracted. Also, because I don't know that much about configuring just a Linux system in general, there's a lot of stuff that I have to spend reading documentation about, and that also ends up taking up a lot of that time that I should actually be using for something productive. Maybe not uni stuff, but I've been using a lot of this time that I would have been using for portfolio stuff to just configure my Arch system to make it the way that I want it. In the long run, it's probably going to be for the best, because I'm going to have a system configured the exact way that I want it, and no one else is going to be able to use it, which is great. Right now, I kind of should be working on stuff, but I'm not. I'm not really sure what this video is exactly. I'm just kind of ranting about how when I was on Windows, if I wanted to change something, I'd be pretty much stuck. I couldn't, for most stuff, there's not really any way you could change it unless you start doing registry edits and other things. There are a lot of programs that will let you customize them, which is why I was running Vivaldi when I was on Windows. You could customize so much in that application and make it feel how you want it to feel. Now that I'm on Arch, I can just do that with Firefox, so it's not really a problem. One important thing I should point out is that if you don't want to be spending all this time configuring, you can just drop in KDE, XFCE, Mint, anything like that, GNOME if you really want to. You can just drop in a desktop environment onto Arch, let that handle everything for you, and not spend all this time configuring stuff. Obviously, in those systems, you can still configure colors and stuff, but you don't think about oh, Do I want to use Pulse Audio or do I want to use Ulcer for my audio? Do I want to, what file browser do I want to use? What terminal do I want to use? You could leave all this stuff up to your desktop environment if you really don't have the time to deal with it. So I'm not saying that being able to customize this stuff is bad. I'm just saying that I get very distracted by it. So if you don't have the time to deal with this and you still want to run Arch, then just drop in something like GNOME. Or you've got things like Luke Smith's install scripts for labs, which is basically just going to pull down all of the stuff that he used when he was on Arch. I think he's on Void now, so assuming that he shows up on the internet again, because he hasn't uploaded in a while, because he's out in the middle of the woods, but assuming that he does, I assume there will be a similar thing for Void, but I don't know. There are scripts out there. If you want to run a minimalist Arch system, but you still want to be able to do it very quickly. If you don't want to run a desktop environment, you don't necessarily have to configure everything. As I was saying, there are scripts out there that will pull down other people's dependencies. I might do something like that at some point for my system once I've got it set up the way I like it, just so it's easier for me to move between computers. If anyone wants to use it, then it'll be GPL'd on my GitHub, which is now in the description. So if I mention any scripts, they will be there. I think that might be pretty much everything I want to talk about. I'm just ranting about how I get very distracted about configuring Arch stuff and I should be using my time productively. So if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe and hit the little bell icon below if you want to see more from my channel. Hopefully next time I am not sick. I don't think that's going to be the case though. I'll probably still be sick for the next week or so, which is going to make editing this lots of fun. Anyway, so if you like this video, I did that part. I'm not sure what videos we've got coming up this week. I'll work that out as I go. But apart from that, yes, I don't think there's anything else to cover, so I'm out.